The good news is we now have a bunch of listings for the 5070 Ti with their prices attached. The bad news is some of them are over $1,000 and the vast majority of them are over $900. Unfortunately, there is only one MSRP model listed at Micro Center who has all of these models available at this point where you can see it. They're available February 20th. Here's their pricing. And again, only a single model at the $750 MSRP. The next one up is $900. And it doesn't look like Gigabyte just hasn't listed their lower end stuff yet. It's my understanding that their Eagle tends to be one of their lower end models. So this is looking to be well above MSRP. Again, I think MSI's Ventus line tends to be one of their lower end models. We're seeing $910 here. Now these are OC models, so maybe there'll be some non-OC models that do come in closer to the MSRP and they're just not listed yet. I would really hope so, because again, look at this. We go from $750 MSRP to $900, $900, $900, $910, $940, $970, $980, $980, $1,000, $1,000, $1,010. That's absolutely nuts, considering that the 5070 Ti, according to NVIDIA's own performance claims, when not factoring in multi-frame gen versus not multi-frame gen, they're only claiming about a 20% performance jump. So if you actually look at that relatively versus the 4070 Ti, that puts it below cards like an RTX 4080 and 4080 Super. So in other words, you could have already bought a 4080 Super for actually the PNY model, if we want to talk about the lower priced PNY models. There were 4080 Supers available for a long time for around $950 for a huge chunk of last year on a regular basis in stock. And now we're seeing that most of the 5070 Ti lineup is gonna be priced around that region. At least it looks like it is. Now, can all of this be blamed on, let's say, tariffs or something like that? Well, can a $1,000 card blame its price on a 10% tariff, which I believe would only be impacting the wholesale price of the import versus even the actual MSRP retail list price? Well, $1,000 divided by a $750 MSRP is a 33% markup. That's quite significant. Also, European pricing doesn't seem to be amazing either. Videocards.com has an article where they went over the prices they could find at European retailers that had pricing listed. And again, in a region where it looks like the Germany MSRP would be $879, you can see that everything is well over $1,000. You can see a whole bunch of them listed out here in text. Looking at Finland Pro Shop, where apparently MSRP should be $924. They did find one model available at that MSRP, but then others going above. Denmark, apparently MSRP should be $68.79. They did find a model available, so it looks like, again, Europe is also showing this trend of there may be some MSRP models listed. Like again, at Micro Center, we are seeing this one PNY model at MSRP, but it looks like the majority of models look to be listing well above. Again, hopefully as we get to actual launch date, maybe more models will be listed and maybe more of them will be closer to MSRP. I certainly hope that is the case. Also, we can hope for stuff to drive down the costs. Now, what could possibly do that? A huge part of this seems to be supply versus demand. There doesn't seem to be a lot of supply for the 50 series, at least with the 5080 and the 5090. So if there's low supply, then supply doesn't meet demand, prices go up, scalpers get involved, all of that. There's also, like I said, potential things like tariffs and whatnot impacting pricing, at least in some regions. Although, of course, costs for things like that probably get spread over all regions, even if it's only officially, the tariff on the US region. But then there's also what could help here, a strong competition. So a lot of eyes are turned to AMD now. So when are we getting the 9070 and 9070 XT? So videocards.com is claiming March 6th as the availability for the cards. Remember, we've already had the official announcement that the February 28th is when they will be announced by AMD. So we have the announcement of the announcement. That is official. So February 28th, we should find out whatever AMD wants to tell us about them. Hopefully that would include pricing and performance, and hopefully their first-party performance claims are legit, because sometimes AMD does a good job with that, but we've also seen times where their marketing performance claims have not lined up with reality. But again, that's generally how first-party benchmarks go. So now, all we know officially is that February 28th date. Again, we do know officially that NVIDIA's 5070 Ti is coming on February 20th. Now, some of these dates video cards is listing is stuff that they're claiming from their own sources. They're claiming that reviews for the 5070 Ti are coming out on February 19th, the day before launch. Now, that would line up with what's been happening with the 5080, 5090 launch. We had 5080 reviews one day prior to their availability. Now, again, they're claiming March 5th for the 5070 and then March 6th for the 9070 sales. They're claiming that March 6th date based on their own sources, as well as other leakers posting things like we have BenchLife saying AMD Radeon 9070 XT and 9070 will now go on sale on March 6th, while the GeForce 5070 will be released on March 5th, breaking the past practice of launching on Tuesdays or Thursdays. So that's from BenchLife. Videocards.com says it lines up with their own sources. But then also we've seen price listings from places like Momomo US on Twitter showing screenshots of 9070 and 9070 XT cards listed showing a March 6th release date. So with that in mind, there's a lot of evidence that it's March 6th for the actual launch. Now, what kinds of pricing did we get from this post from Momomo? Well, we have an XFX Swift model RX 9070 OC listing at $649.99. Now, that's interesting because XFX, that's hard to say, XFX, there we go, Swift models tend to be the lower-end MSRP lineup rather than the marked-up higher-end coolers. So if this is legitimate price, that would indicate that this would be their expected MSRP pricing, but do keep in mind that sometimes prices listed ahead of launch are placeholders and do get adjusted before things actually end up going on sale. So I don't know, 650 feels like a lot for the, notice this is not the XT model, this is the 9070. 650 feels a lot unless performance is really high, but we'll have to see again, how is it priced versus the 50 series and MSRP, as well as what its actual, market pricing is. We're seeing 9070 XT models at $750 and up, because and again, that's the XFX Swift model, which, like I said, tends to be an MSRP product. So this would indicate potentially $750 and $650 as the MSRPs for these cards. We don't know that for sure, though. Again, this is not official. This is just screen captured stuff posted to Twitter, right? Their Quicksilver, again, a bit above that MSRP, right? $750 up to $770 for the higher end cooler model on that. And they're showing 9070 XT Mercury at $820. So you would expect that to be a higher end cooler model with a bigger markup. And another listing here at $850. Again, all of these, the ones that have a launch date are showing March 6th. So not all of them seem to show that March 6th on it, by the way. So anyway, so a lot of evidence for the March 6th date, as well as some evidence on pricing. Man, $750 and $650 feels high to me unless performance is, I don't know, super, super competitive. And I think the big elephant in the room for AMD is, what about FSR 4? So that was one of the reasons given by AMD officially for why they are launching in March rather than sooner. It was to get software ready to go. And a big part of that software, I think, is FSR 4. So with NVIDIA's new transformer model of DLSS looking so good, and AMD's older FSR models already not looking as good as the older CNN model of DLSS, I think FSR 4 has to deliver in both image quality and its performance. Because remember, upscaling has a performance cost, so it needs to be performant as well as have great image quality. Remember, at CES, there was some footage of FSR 4 in at least one game, Ratchet & Clank, and it looked pretty good. But we have no idea what its performance was, that kind of thing. And remember, it was labeled as an AMD research project, which again indicates that they needed some more time to make sure that this was ready. So I'm hoping waiting till March means that they not only have FSR 4 in great shape, but hopefully it also launches in a bunch of games. We have some indication that there will be a driver level feature that allows any game that has an FSR 3.1 integration to be automatically using the newer FSR 4 model as a feature on the new 9070 series cards. So that will certainly help with the availability of this. Again, NVIDIA doing something similar with their NVIDIA app, allowing a driver-level override in certain games to the newer DLSS models, although they use a whitelisting model on which games they support using that method. Anyway, it does appear that some people are already able to buy the 9070 XT and even unbox it. Now, that's certainly interesting, but don't necessarily expect a bunch of gaming benchmarks out of it, because even if you get the card itself, if you put it in your computer, you are not necessarily going to be able to actually run it. You would need drivers that support the card. So with that in mind, like I said, don't necessarily expect stuff until the card actually launches. So kind of interesting that they're out there, but without drivers, you're not going to be able to actually test it out or do anything. Now, a lot of this whole pricing issue thing, like I said, seems to be related to supply issues, and that's feeding into the whole scalping business. Now, Mega Size GPU, who has a pretty proven track record of leaking a lot of stuff ahead of time, so probably has some contacts within AIC partners and things like that, has said the supply of RTX 5090 will be stupidly high soon. Scalpers will cry so hard. Then 14 hours later replied to give a little more context to that. Now, this context to me sounds like this might be more speculation rather than maybe a confirmed insider leak type situation. Because that's one thing with these leaker Twitter accounts is it's like, when are they posting speculation based on their own personal opinion, and when are their posts related to insider information that's an actual leak, right? So anyway, this clarification says, imagine you're NVIDIA and have purchased a lot of TSMC yields for B200, but now the market doesn't want that much B200, and RTX 40 is retired. The only solution is to make as much RTX 50 as possible to cover the unused yield of B200. So this, again, sounds like kind of speculation based on B200, Blackwell GPUs not maybe selling at the rate that NVIDIA would have predicted when they locked in TSMC loads, right? So the idea is you buy a certain amount of production capacity from TSMC, and then you need to use that on something. If the plan was to use it on B200, but then you're not selling those at the rate that you thought, you still want to use up that same TSMC wafer capacity to make as much profit as you possibly can. So if you make a whole bunch of RTX 50, which is currently selling at pretty inflated pricing and whatnot, demand seems to be there, this makes a lot of sense. But again, this also sounds like a reasoned speculation on what NVIDIA might do rather than some kind of official confirmation massive supplies of 5090 are incoming. Anyway, that's how I would take that. I've seen other places reporting on this as like it's absolutely confirmed. Now, again, regarding the supply issues, it seems like that might also be affecting laptop GPUs. So this is unofficial. This is coming, again, more from like insider contacts with board partners and things like that. But we're seeing reports, this one here at WCCF Tech, saying NVIDIA RTX 50 series laptop GPUs are reportedly delayed to March and April due to supply issues. Now, where are they getting their source? By the way, all my sources today will be linked in the video description. So this is coming from DigiTimes, which again tends to have contact within AIC partners and supply chains and things like that. They're saying this also happened at NVIDIA, which has never been late in the past, and it is estimated that it is related to NVIDIA's all-out sprint to the AI server. Even if there are differences in the design and process of server and PC chips, the company's resource allocation may still affect the debugging efficiency of new products. So that sounds like speculation, honestly, on why it's happening, but they are saying that Apparently, the laptops might be coming out later than had been originally planned for availability. Anyway, currently we're basically just sitting at supply kind of sucks right now. If I tried to just price search at a bunch of major retailers using something like PC Part Picker, which surveys a whole bunch of retailers over here, and looks for stuff that's just sitting in stock rather than having to wait to instantly snatch up a supply drop. You're seeing that 5080s listed at over $2,000, 5090s just not even available unless you're buying like aftermarket scalping stuff. But remember, the 40 series hasn't really been being produced either. So 4080s are also well marked up past where they were right before the 50 series launch. 4090s again looking crazy. Even the 4070 series, over $700 just for a base 4070. Things are looking pretty crazy. You have to go down to the 4060 and 4060 Ti to get anything even close to MSRP from NVIDIA. But again, AMD also kind of looking pretty crazy. Their 7900 series, the XT model is over $700. We used to be able to find that lower than that. And most models are even higher than that. The GREs are completely unavailable at anything resembling where they used to be. The XTX models are over $900 for the single model I see in stock here, and the rest are well over $1,000. The 7800 XTX, you can still find one listing around $540. That seems to be one of the best $500-ish value GPUs that's actually in stock at the moment. But still, that's about $100 more than you were paying for these just a few months ago. So that's pretty frustrating. The 7700 XT, $460-ish. Again, you could find them closer to $400 or even occasionally discounted below $400. Again, just a few months ago. And the 7600 you can actually find around $250, which is the only thing I'm seeing not completely inflated right now, other than like the 4060, which is its competitor. Again, not too far above where it's usually been and its MSRP. The 7600 XT model actually is a little inflated beyond where you should be able to get around 320. Now I'm seeing 340, 350. So again, the whole market seems kind of messed up right now. Even Intel with their like B580 and whatnot, we're seeing like 370. Again, the B580 was exciting due to its aggressive pricing versus cards like the 4060. We're not seeing that right now. B570 is one actually in stock right now at 230. If that's real, this seems to be, oh, it says available soon. Oh man, anyway, I was gonna say, that if you could grab it at that price, that seems to be the winner today if I was searching. But again, supply just seems to be terrible. So hopefully things get better. That's where we're currently at. Hopefully more MSRP 5070 Ti's get listed soon. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section, and hopefully things get better soon. And I hope you still manage to have an excellent day.